Matt Giordano. I'm currently the Executive Director of the Arizona Peace Officer Standards and Training Board.
You mentioned the last two times through you didn't put in for this job. Why now? What changed?
You know, about 3 years ago when they advertised for the interim chief, I had a couple projects at Arizona Post I was still working on. We were deeply involved in them. I had some changes I wanted to make through my own strategic plan there, and I wasn't ready to go. I wanted to see those through to fruition. So now those are accomplished. I didn't put in the last go around because, again, Mike Sullivan was here. I thought he'd done a lot of really good things organizationally. But then when he wasn't, when that process ended and they re-advertised, I thought now was the right time. You know, again, like I said, the city of Phoenix was so good to me. The police department was so good to me. I wanted to give back. My kids are all grown. My wife's got 1 year left of teaching, and then I have all kinds of time to dedicate, because it does. This is an intense job. I'm in a good place in my life. But again, I've got a great job at Arizona Post, so for me it's a win-win. I would love to end my career with the Phoenix Police Department, so that's why I'm here.
Do you think, just being the only finalist from here, and obviously with that experience with Phoenix PD and the Sheriff's Office and just knowing everybody else around the state, that gives you a leg up in this process? You
know, a good friend of mine told me, he goes, "Yeah, just make sure you tell them that on day one, you know where the bathroom is and you know where to park." And he thought that, that's good. But no, I agree. I'm joking, but it's true, because again, people talk about when you go to a new culture, you go to an organization, you're trying to learn the people, learn the names, learn the city. I mean, I can tell you where every precinct is. I can tell you where all the bureaus are. I can tell you who works. I can tell you the commander. If I don't already have their phone number, I more than likely do, of the commanders of every bureau. So I have all that down. I understand the community. I understand, I know some of the council members. I've worked with the mayor before when she was a council member. So I have those relationships. I don't have to learn those. Reacquaint myself, yes, but not learn them from the ground up. So I do believe that gives me an advantage. Plus my connections statewide. I am connected to every police chief and every sheriff in the state. So everyone's just a phone call away. They're all on my cell phone already. So when I pick up the phone, it's not, "Hey, this is Matt Giordano from Phoenix PD. I'm the new chief." This is, "Hey, it's Matt." Or they answer, "Hey, Matt, what are you doing?" Because we know each other. We've built those relationships. And again, in police work, we're leveraging technology. We're working together. I already have those relationships. So yeah, I guess a long answer to your short question was, yes, I think it is a leg up for me being from Phoenix and having the relationships and the experience that I have.
I know some folks may look at that experience, and you mentioned SB70, and you've seen the good and bad of law enforcement in Arizona over the years. There may be some people that may look at your experience and say that's somebody who was in cultures that weren't positive for me and my family. What would be your argument to them and why you could be a chief?
I hear what they're saying, and again, I can see where they're coming from, but I've been gone for 8.5 years in the Phoenix Police Department, and during those 8.5 years, I've recognized that Phoenix wasn't perfect. I might have had blinders on when I was here to some degree, but now that I've seen behind the curtain at Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, I saw the court order. If you've ever read the court order that the judge wrote, it is very restrictive, but it's also very good. It really creates a lot of checks and balances, accountability measures that we weren't doing for years in Phoenix. Now, over the last 3 years, they've implemented a lot of those, and they're really good for policing. They're really good for the community. But also, being gone for 8.5 years almost, is I have a different perspective. And now that I've worked with not only police departments all over the state, all over the country, I sit for 3 years. I was the Western regional representative for Adalist, so it's the International Association of Directors of Law Enforcement Standards and Training. So my peers in all 50 states in about 25 countries, I deal with them all the time on training, on advanced training, basic training, testing, scenario-based training, compliance matters when an officer engages in misconduct. So I have a totally different frame of reference now than I did 8.5 years ago when I retired from the Phoenix Police Department, which again, I think can negate some of those comments of you were here when it wasn't, if someone might say that, you were here when it wasn't so good, I think I can negate that and say I've got a different perspective now, and we can work together effectively.
Sorry, with the Trump administration rescinding the DOJ report, what's your thoughts on what role this document should play in the zeitgeist of the Phoenix Police Department?
Well, I don't know what zeitgeist means, but I'll just go with it. I think I know the rest of it. I think what it is. I was joking. Sorry, bad joke, I guess. I think, like I talked about one of my answers earlier, is a lot of people thought, oh, well, it's gone now. It's not gone. That's a living document, and all the changes that the department has made since that document came out are right in line with some of the concerns the community had. And I used it earlier, but we police the expectations of our community. If our community, through those surveys and those informational meetings with the DOJ, had those concerns, we need to address them. and we need to understand why they see that, why they feel that way. So again, although it's gone, although we won't have to pay millions of dollars a year to have a monitoring team come in, because I witnessed that over firsthand at the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, we're already making those changes. So why not save the city, the residents of the city of Phoenix, money on that end of it, and put that towards hiring, what technology, whatever we might need to be successful. But again, that's not going away. It's just not being litigated anymore by the Department of Justice. But again, it still exists.
And as a follow-up, what are those things that you've seen changes being made with things?
Just policy.
If you
I'm sorry.
Yeah, look over here.
Oh, sorry.
We're trying to
Yeah, I apologize. Just accountability measures, policy updates, making sure that our practices align with our policies, because that's the worst thing you can do is create really good policies, but your practices don't align with it. And then training. Again, I can't stress training enough. That's what I do now, is we train officers, and we need to make sure not only are we doing training in the academy setting, but we're doing it to advanced officer training, because again, you have some disconnects between, we've changed lesson plans at the academy, so people are coming out of the academy with different training than some senior officer having. So we're making sure we're connecting them together so everyone is understanding and coming from the same frame of reference.
I just wanted to clarify. My question was a little bit more about the what have you seen Phoenix PD do?
I thought I hit that, I'm sorry. Policy changes, accountability measures.
Well, which ones in particular? Which policy changes?
The use of force policy, that changed obviously as a direct result of input from the community members as well. Sorry, I keep looking over there. As well as community member input, as well as department input, looking around for best practices from around the country. So that, I think off the top of my head, that's the biggest one that I would reference.